Hello from Studio Stillwater. I'm Michelle Charles.
And I'm Chris Peters.
And you guys may realize that you haven't heard from us in a while. We're here to tell you what's been going on.
Yeah, so you've probably been listening to a lot of In the Newsroom, which is now a weekly podcast that we've been producing right here in the studio.
Exactly, but there hasn't been a new podcast under the name Studio Stillwater from you and me in a while.
No.
So what's been going on with that, Chris?
Well, I mean, we had the kind of the political season, dip off. And so that was our grassroots, our civic engagement focused podcast. And obviously, we didn't get elections and stuff going around, but there could be some other topics we might, talk about on that podcast.
Exactly. And that's one of the points that we're making here is that we started out under the title Studio Stillwater just in general for our podcast. And, as things are developing, Studio Stillwater is becoming more of an umbrella for a variety of podcasts.
An emerging network.
An emerging network. I like that. Burgeoning, as it were. I'm going to steal that word that we discussed. But so the original podcast that we had worked on is basically going to get a new name. It's evolving.
Yeah.
It's centered around civic conversations, community conversations about issues, elections, whatever might be going on in our city. And so we've decided to basically rename that Grassroots. And that's going to be focusing on civic engagement. So what's the discussion that we've been having around that? How often do you think we're going to do that? When would it be appropriate to reactivate that one?
Well, hopefully we can time some of these discussions before it's too late to do anything about them. So, for example, major projects coming up in the city, like maybe, 6th Avenue, Highway 51. Maybe we want to have a discussion with some folks on what that's going to look like. And then maybe also get some, feedback and just kind of help the community have that conversation. So we are all kind of on the same page for, when that actually happens and people aren't blindsided and then, maybe showing up at a city council meeting wearing T-shirts saying, please do not expand the highway.
After it's way too late to do anything.
Yes.
Yes, that is an issue that happens over and over again. So that's going to still be an ongoing thing. It's just probably not going to be a weekly occasion or a weekly event, I guess.
That's going to be kind of as things come up.
Right. It goes back to that concept, that original concept we had of community conversations.
Yeah.
It all comes down to conversation, getting people involved, hearing what they have to say, and sharing that. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit on this, but I am excited about what we've been doing. I mean, just the fact that we haven't put out a podcast that we're hosting in a little bit doesn't mean we haven't been really busy.
No, we've been in talks with various other local content creators to produce some content for them.
And by content, we mean podcasts.
We mean podcasts right now.
And also, of course, as we said, we've been working on In the Newsroom. I hope you've been listening to it and enjoying it. It's been, we've been doing that every week for how many weeks now?
I know the one we just recorded today. So this is July 14th. And so this was the 18th episode. So it's almost been 20 weeks since the end of March, I think is when the first one came out.
That feels like a pretty good run. It really does.
Yeah.
I know from the news press perspective, because of my day job, I'm city editor for the Stillwater News Press. And so there's a little bit of crossover there. But from our perspective as the staff of the newsroom, we've really enjoyed being able to share a little more insight into the stories that we tell in the newspaper and on our website. I mean, the tagline for it is the story behind the stories.
Yeah. And I get to be the first person to hear the stories behind the stories before you all do, because I get to edit it.
That's exactly right. So Chris has a little bit more of an insight into not only, I guess the making of the sausage.
Yep.
Yep. So not only what happens in the newsroom, as it were, amongst our staff, but also we have discussions, kind of more philosophical discussions about journalism, the state of journalism, what we do, why we do it the way we do it, the decisions that we make every day. And I mean, our goal is really what we hope to get out of it anyway, is that people will understand better the process. Because I think what you don't understand, maybe you don't trust as much. And we really want people to know that we are all just people who live here in this town, who have concerns, who care about things, and really just want to do our jobs the best we can. And sometimes it's hard to understand why we do what we do or how we do it. And hopefully this kind of demystifies that a little bit.
Yeah, especially now when people's lives are so crowded with different media.
Yeah.
From coming from different areas, and a lot of, distrusts for, various flavors of media. And then, but coming back to like your own local journalists, it's like, these are people you could see walking down the street. These are people you could see at the Walmart and be like, I didn't really like that piece you wrote on the city council. Why didn't you write this or something? Or, or me emailing Ashlyn and saying, hey, that's not an accident. That's a crash.
Exactly.
You can actually interact with if it was CNN or if it's the New York Times or if it's, some other just web-based one. You don't know any of those folks and you'll never know them.
Exactly. But hopefully, people have been enjoying that. And if you haven't, check it out. If you haven't been listening to it, I mean, I think if nothing else, it'll give you a different perspective on local news and how it's been reported.
For sure.
And that's been a centerpiece that we've been doing every week for quite a while. Yeah. But we're doing other stuff.
Yeah. And it goes back to that Studio Stillwater podcast feed. What you guys are listening to this on is going to be a mix of different content. And we really see it as a incubator for local content creators to kind of come in, try things out. So in the newsroom, it's so far having a great run. Maybe at some point people are like, I really just want to subscribe to In the Newsroom. And then, it kind of graduates into its own feed. But right now, to kind of have that collaborative effort of, okay, some people might be coming for one show, some people might come in for other, and we're kind of getting that audience all in one space as we're trying to grow that audience.
So for us less techie people, basically that means if you subscribe to Studio Stillwater, you're going to find one long menu that has a variety of titles in it. That's what you're going to find. And you can go through that and then you can pick the things you want to listen to. And then if something, grows enough, then it'll eventually have its thing where you can just go and find that. But you'll still be able to find it. It'll still be associated with Studio Stillwater. It'll still be part of our network, and we're still going to have some things that you can do to connect with a variety of those people.
Exactly. And one thing that we're excited to tell everybody about that's going to help with this is our new website, studiostillwater.net.
Very good.
And so on there, you'll be able to, of course, see all the shows. And they're also all broken up by their show or series. So say you want to go back and listen to some of the early Grassroots one. You can go click on Grassroots and they're all there. As other content and stuff comes on, you'll be able to go through and just basically be able to easily just browse and find that. It's a really nice platform to be able to see all the show notes, see the guests on the show, links to all their social media connections, so you can, follow your favorite guests. One of the really neat things that we have on the show is you guys have the ability to rate and review us.
And also leave us messages.
Yep. So you can kind of give us your feedback. So there's a contact form on there for you to email us. There is a voicemail button, so you can record a voicemail right from your computer or phone and send us a message. And then there's also a page on there called Reviews where you can leave a review for us. So if you really have been liking what we've been doing and you see the potential of this and you really want to support us, the easiest way is to go through and give us a rating. And then, just follow our social media, and we're also on YouTube. Like and subscribe. That's everybody's favorite word nowadays.
Exactly. But that's how we become sustainable. That's how we grow.
Yep.
By increasing our reach, increasing our audience. If you enjoy this, tell someone else about it and have them check it out. The goal is, of course, to grow this into, as we said, a network where you're going to find a variety of local content, which means that at some point we're going to have something that should please almost everybody.
Hopefully.
Something that almost anyone can be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And having said that, we're working on a couple of projects right now. We've got some things going. We haven't just been sitting idle. We're, in various stages of discussions or development with, some other people who want to create podcasts. We've had some that have recorded a little bit. We've got a series that we're working on that's our own. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a limited run series that we're in the middle of doing interviews for.
Yeah. And that's more of an editorial style, so
right.
It takes more time. It's not like when we were doing the candidate interviews, when, of course, the candidates, well, most of them, do want to show up. Like that, they're like, I have to go out and talk to people. That's part of, running a campaign.
Right.
But when you're trying to interview somebody on certain topics and stuff, they want to, but they're not going to, yes, I'll show up tomorrow and be in the studio. It takes a little more time.
Well, and it's storytelling. So
yes.
Basically you have to get all of your interviews done, and then you figure
mm-hmm.
out how you're going to put that together. It's more like the way I write a news story
yes.
than the way we did the sit-down interview formats with the political candidates previously. So it just takes a little more time just to gather
mm-hmm.
all the information you need.
But we are working on it.
So
mm-hmm.
we're working on a series. We're working with some other people to develop their own series.
Mm-hmm. One I am super excited about because it's kind of in a little bit in my wheelhouse of, I guess, things I care about, but I don't want to spoil it because we still gotta we got a ways to go to make it a reality, but it will be awesome.
I think so too. I'm super excited about it. We're kind of teasing it and we're being very, very vague, but it's going to be cool, guys. I promise you, it's going to be so cool. If we can pull it off, it's going to be super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something we can talk about though is an idea we've had recently to basically centered around the idea of tell us your story.
Mm-hmm.
And we just want to talk to interesting local people. The thing is, some people don't think they're very interesting,
mm-hmm.
but maybe something amazing has happened to them, or they've found themselves as a very normal person in the middle of extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are the best stories. We want to hear those. We want to help you tell those. If you are one of those people, if you've just got an amazing story, and it can be happy, it can be sad, it can be funny, it can be something that will make people angry. We want to hear the whole gamut. Or if you know someone who would be a great person to tell their story, we would love to talk to you. We would love to include you in this series. And these will be, the same casual sort of friendly interviews
mm-hmm.
that we did before. So, the format. It's nothing scary. We're nice people. We'll make it super easy for folks.
We're not going to put your feet to the fire on,
exactly.
Tell us all your dirty secrets or something like that.
Exactly. We just want you to tell us your amazing story. We've been talking a lot about maybe talking to older folks.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot said about, we're losing so many World War II veterans. I know a woman who just turned 101, and she was born in a tent.
That's amazing.
And now, she's watching billionaires fly into space for fun. You can't tell me that she doesn't have some amazing stories to tell, or that her story is not fascinating. Just someone who is a witness to that much history.
Yep.
So, these are the kinds of things we're talking about. But it could be kids. It could be anyone of any age. So, reach out and let us know. And we would love to talk to you and see if that's something that, that could work for this.
For sure.
But anyway, so that's a fun one. That's something that we're planning on trying to get done sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely wanted to put a bug in people's ear.
We're hoping we can get enough interest that can be kind of a regular, maybe bi-weekly or monthly deal. So, we can get to know more of all the interesting people that call Stillwater or Payne County, home.
or the area.
Mm-hmm.
There are folks we're close enough to, to Noble County and Creek County and Logan County. We're not necessarily putting a geographic thing on it. We're just saying sort of the Stillwater area.
Borders are just lines on maps.
They are. They're artificial lines. Somebody just decided that.
I appreciate everybody that's subscribed and continue to listen, and we hope to continue to bring you some interesting content that you frankly won't get anywhere else.
Absolutely. And you can always reach out to us on, we're on Facebook at Studio Stillwater. We're on Twitter.
Instagram.
We're on Instagram. We're on the gram. Email studiostillwaterok@gmail.com. Email us. We are so excited at what we've been able to accomplish just in the last 6 or 7 months. And we really want to see this continue to grow. We want to continue to help other people realize their visions and tell their stories. And thank you guys so much for being a part of that.
Yep. Thank you.